it's Francis. In the beginning of the video, I played a pretty simple bass line that I wrote, and I'm going to take a few different approaches to adding stuff to it and show you how many different types of songs we can create with the same rhythm section. So I'm going to try to do something with keyboards, and I'll do something with guitars, and maybe a combination of a few things. And we'll see where it goes. Let's get started. All right, here we are in the Reaper session where I recorded that bass line. We can see that it's split into a clean and an overdrive channel, which is the way I like recording bass. And I've got a simple drum loop here that I created in Contact using Abbey Road Modern Drummer. The first version of this that I think I'm going to create is a very simple guitar version where the guitar will just follow the chords of the bass. It'll probably sound like a rock song or kind of like a punk song, depending on the way I articulate the guitar and how much distortion I use. Let's start with a guitar part here, and I want to make sure this thing's in tune. Now that we're in tune, let's just try playing along with this. All right, so that's pretty straightforward, but I already think that that could work for a song. But what if we wanted something a little bit more exciting, or where the guitar player and the bass player aren't really playing the same thing? And, you know, we could have both of these versions in the same song. So it's always good to think about how many different ways you can repurpose a part. I'm going to try doing something that's a little bit more inspired by a band like maybe Deep Purple, where a bass line is going to be pretty different from a guitar part, and the guitar part's going to be moving around in sort of like in fourths or power chords. So I'm going to try a different guitar part here and see if I can come up with something that works. Okay, that was pretty cool, I think. And I think I like that version a little bit more. Let's try doing something with a keyboard now. I'll try starting out with a pad on the Mellotron. All right, I think that was pretty boring, all things considered. It might sound cool with the guitar part though, so let's hear them together and see if that gives us any new ideas. All right, it's sort of working, but I think I would end up wanting to go somewhere else with the keyboard part here. And I think I would want the keyboard to go a little bit beyond just playing the outline of the chords. So I'll try something else here, and I'm going to try doing something more melodic where the keyboard only plays one note at a time. I think I'm going to use it to imply the thirds of the chords. So starting on that B natural, I think is going to be a good place. And I'll see if I can come up with a melodic idea based on that. Let's see what happens. that's a little bit more lifelike. But it's not really playing to the Mellotron's strong points. So I think that I might try doing something like that on the Minimoog instead. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm much happier with that on the Minimoog. So let's go back to the Mellotron and see if I can come up with a way of making this pad work. I think I was just in the wrong register, and maybe if I choose a different sound, I'll be able to fill in the space a little bit better. On the Mellotron, you crossfade between two sounds. So in this case, I was using a low string sound and a high string sound. I'll show you them. And before I was focusing on the low string sound, and I think that the high string sound will fit into the mix a little bit better here. So I'm going to do another take with that and see what happens. Maybe something like that will work on the whole. So all together now, maybe I'll bring the Minimoog over to the right and the guitar a little bit over to the left and leave the Mellotron in the middle and see what happens. See if this all sounds okay together. It's pretty cool. I could live with a ton of reverb on that Mellotron, maybe even delay. As a matter of fact, I think I'm just going to put some tape echo on here to give it a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit more of a something. I like to filter my echo. I think it just sounds better if the repeats are a little bit more lo-fi. Yeah, that's sounding pretty cool. Okay, and as promised, I'm going to try to do something completely different with this and see what happens if I take the same bass line and the same drum part and just repurpose it and see how different of a song I can come up with if I just approach everything in a completely different way. So for this repeat, I think that maybe I'll come up with a synth riff for it this time. God, it's really cold in here, and I feel like I want to blame that on my fingers being so sloppy, but it's probably just my fault for not practicing enough. I'm going to turn my drive down on this guitar now and see if I can come up with a guitar part that feels a little bit different here. I think something like that will be very appropriate for an alternate version. I'm going to use the same instruments for this one, and I'll throw the Mellotron on here. All right, I think I'm relatively happy with that, and I hope that helps you think of ways to reimagine your bass lines. Let's listen to each one of those and think about how different they are. And version 2. Anyway, I hope you can imagine going into a great deal of detail with that and seeing how many different songs you could create with the same riff or the same bass line, because I only really scraped the surface. So if you take a bass line like this and make a song out of it, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you come up with. And as usual, if this is helpful to you, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.